should now be live. For those who are here, hello, good evening. Hello, Kairu. And hello, Nicholas, if you're still here. Just double checking everything's working correctly on OBS. Yes, good. How are we doing today? What has died? Two more NODOSAURUS. Yeah, so back on Montanna today, and I'm gonna take a break from doing decorative work. I want to focus on the Suchomimus enclosure and the Nodosaurus enclosure because they both need sprucing up. So we're going to focus on enclosures today. Though I would rather do it in the daylight so I can see what the bloody hell I'm doing. You're just currently on an Indiana Jones marathon. But everyone knows there's only 3 Indiana Jones films worth watching. Bloody hell, another dead dinosaur. It's died now. Another Nodo has died of old age. Come on, can we come back to daylight, please, map? It's kind of tricky to do this when it's pitch black. Uh, 45 years. Crikey. I would say I was a reasonable fan of the original 3. I'm not overwhelmingly a fan. Well, I watched the 4th one and was like, yeah, this franchise is past it now. And that was about it. I haven't watched any of the... Haven't watched any of the new ones. That's better. Now we can see what we're doing. Right. I think I'd quite like to make a little bit of a forested bit up here. Just to cover up this these rocks. Oh, what's died now? I don't mind being told a dinosaur has died. What I really mind is having to clean it up myself. I don't understand why it just can't happen. Have you seen the trailer for the end of Oak Street? No, I have not. Well, or not. I haven't seen, like, the whole thing. I've seen clips of it from other people's videos and stuff, because I generally don't have that much interest. Same as I didn't go and watch Primal War or Primitive War, whatever it was. I just don't have that much interest in the film. And I mean, based off the Allosaurus design, I don't think it would be a film that I would be particularly friendly about anyway. The Allosaurus design is dreadful. I don't know, Kairu. I'm of the opinion that they will not show anything off about the DLC until the free update is out. But that's me applying logic to Frontier. We know what trying to apply logic to Frontier in their decision making is like. Doesn't the DLC often release at the same time as the free update in most cases? Well, it's more correct to say that usually a DLC comes with a free update, but I don't think... Usually we are told, like, oh, this is the next DLC that's coming, and this is the free update that's coming with it. We're always told about the paid bit first. It's not, you know, there's the possibility it's been told the other way around to us this time. But just based off what they normally do, it wouldn't seem to be the correct way around. Plus, I imagine when the Rebirth DLC does come out, they're going to want to make plenty of fanfare about it. Hello, Jack. If it wasn't for the Jurassic World films, we wouldn't have gotten a lot of other prehistoric films and documentaries that we already have. I'm not I'm not convinced about that. I think arguably you can say that, yeah, the original Jurassic Park was responsible for walking with dinosaurs, and as a result, I think you could say that the first wave of dinosaur stuff, documentary-wise, is, you know, Jurassic Park was responsible for that. I don't think I would support the argument that Jurassic World has had near as much impact in terms of documentaries, anyway. I don't think Prehistoric Planet has anything to do with Jurassic World. Bit more decorative, right? I want to do something with these rocks down here. Don't worry, Suchomimus. Oh, it's a members only stream. I did wonder why I couldn't see any stream today. I did not realize it was members only tonight. I find making archways that look natural very difficult. Maybe not there. We'll put it in a different place. Maybe we'll just do some more. Godmodra. Some typical inclusion mistakes I see. Enclosures that are too small for the number of animals within them is a real big one. I think a lot of people on this game put way too many animals in their enclosures. And you really don't need that many animals per enclosure. The overcrowded enclosures is one thing that I see a lot. So avoiding doing that helps. Elevation is also really important for good enclosures. Making sure there's plenty of elevation differences. Is the NODOSAURUS from Camp Jurassic? Oh, what? I didn't think there were any NODOSAURS in Jurassic World. It's just the standard NODOSAURUS. I don't even remember what skins I picked for it originally. Oh, the camp. You mean Camp Cretaceous? That's not a Nodosaurus. That's the Ankylosaurus you're thinking of. Bumpy, I believe, is the name. almost be nighttime again already. I swear the day-night cycle is so fast. Hello, Chad. I'm doing alright. How are you doing? You got mangroves in here, right? For God's sake. I can't see again. It's very frustrating not being able to, like, pick the day-night cycle for gameplay. Oh, delete. Ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome a Lokiceratops to the park.
Honestly, I can't see a bloody thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome NODOSAURUS to the park.
Nope, we're gonna have to wait until we get some proper daylight back. Very frustrating. Go away, contracts. What's happened here? More baby Lokiceratops. Yeah, the Lokiceratops
Outages across the site. Available
group
personnel
is doing pretty well, actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be advised that our weather forecasts predict an incoming sandstorm.
Oh, here it comes, an incoming sandstorm.
Ladies and gentlemen, our weather forecast has been updated. The sandstorm threat level has been raised.
What's your favorite dinosaur design from the original Jurassic Park? As in the first the first movie or the first trio of movies? The first movie.
sandstorm has passed.
Probably.
Attention personnel. We have detected power outages across the site. Available personnel.
Probably the Triceratops, actually. And I don't mean that horrible brown thing that we got. Like the original design for the Triceratops. Where did it resupply this? Is it the ACU teams that have to resupply the feed? Insufficient fuel. Oh. Really? Yeah, probably the original Triceratops. They were. I mean, if you were gonna say the trio of Jurassic Park films in general, I mean, easily the Jurassic Park 3 Triceratops or the Jurassic Park 3 Raptors. Yet again, everything down here is without power. Every time there's a sandstorm, this whole area becomes depowered. Every time.
Attention personnel. We have detected power outages across the site. Available personnel.
Yeah, the Titanosaurus. I suspect the Titanosaurus will be remodeled to a more logical size. I don't think the Titanosaur will remain,
Ladies and
you
gentlemen,
know,
the sandstorm has now passed.
that
Please resume your normal
ridiculous
activity.
size that it is currently. At last, some daylight. But I imagine the Titanosaur's habitat requirements are going to be pretty harsh. If we go based off the film, they're going to want a lot of companions in the enclosure, which means the enclosure is going to have to be pretty big, and they're going to probably be, I would imagine, quite expensive to produce. So you're also probably going to be looking at quite a lot of difficulty just getting them in. Now back to what I was doing. I'll be honest though, I'm not really that looking forward to the Titanosaurus. I kind of feel like we have plenty of sauropods. I really don't think the game needs any more. Like, I know it's not the game that's, it's not Frontier that's demanding it has more, it's the film. But, like, I kind of feel that we're good for sauropods. I think after this Rebirth DLC, I wouldn't want to see any more sauropods showing up in DLCs. I would be like, take a break from the sauropods, folks. You a little disappointed that Lyprodon didn't get a redesign? No, not at all. Actually, I'm glad it stayed as it was. As much as everyone harps on about the Lipodon design from Jurassic World Evolution 2, I'm glad it stayed. Okay, I guess a lot of... Do you like the... I mean, would I want a more accurate Lipodon design? Yes, it would have been nice to have something that's more accurate. The problem is, when it comes to Lipodon, I don't think what people want is a more accurate Lipodon. They say that's what they want, but that's not actually what they want. What they actually want is walking with dinosaurs is like. That's actually what everyone wants. And unfortunately, that won't happen. Primarily because that design of Lipodon is copyright protected. You know. And fundamentally, if you were to have a paleontologically accurate Lipodon, all you're going to end up with is a smaller Kronosaurus. That's it. That's all you're going to end up with. It's a smaller Kronosaurus. Is that really what you want? I would argue the Lipodon is one of the few plesiosaurs that actually has a distinctive look to it that kind of makes it stand out a bit. And I think that's important. Sorry, by the way, I am still recovering from being ill, so I'm still a bit chesty and stuff, so I do apologize. We have some other fallen tree trunks. We don't just have that one. No. The issue with the Liprodon is it's still a bad sign for those who want redesigns for the Elasmosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus. Yes, Cairo, in fact, me and Evo were talking about that the other day. We're pretty much now guaranteed that neither the Liprodon, neither the Elasmo, Carcharo, anything like that are going to get any sort of a redesign. Which is disappointing, you know. I do miss the classic J-Pog Carcharodontosaurus. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to become a thing. So, you know, we just have to deal with the animals that we are given. PK has done a much better job at designing a carnivore with spikes and scoots, and it looks like an actual animal. Yes. Obviously, part of the problem might be what Universal have demanded. But honestly, how can I say this while sounding diplomatic? I just think Frontier are shit at designing dinosaurs. There we go. Or rather, actually, that's not fair. Actually, let me rephrase that. I think Frontier are terribly inconsistent when it comes to designing dinosaurs. Some of their designs, fantastic. Utahraptor, fantastic. White Tyrannus, fantastic. But other designs are absolute horseshit. It is so inconsistent. And I don't know whether that's just because they have, like, too many people designing them. Or some they decide to put more effort into because they think they're more popular and therefore they deserve to have more time spent on them, which is probably the case, to be honest. It's just so annoying to see how inconsistent they are with the design. Back to bloody nighttime hours where I can't see a bloody thing again. I think we'll put some more mangroves in here. But I might have to wait. I actually don't like this tree there. Can you put in a... I don't know, a better tree. Maybe a Himalayan pine? No, I want something a bit bushy. Something... maybe a durian. I want something with a bushy top. That's a bit more. Yep. Yeah, that's a bit nicer. By the way, for anyone wanting to know, when it comes to designing foliage, I divide it into like several types of brackets. You have like bushy trees, umbrella trees, and thin trees. And I've always thought that to make your vegetation look the best way, you need to mix up the types of tree that you use. Not just color-wise, but also type of tree. Unless you're going for a particular feeling. What's coming out of the nest there? Oh, look! Some new baby NODOSAURUS. Barbaridactylus is a species that I want to see get some more love, given the unfortunate lack of the iconic crest in the Jurassic World Evolution 2 design. Barbaridactylus has a crest in Evolution 2, does it not? What's died now? Struthy. This Suchomimus exhibit is taking longer to sort out than I thought it would take. A lot more to do than I thought. Nyctosaurus is one species that I've always thought Evolution 2 should have had. Just simply because a Nycto is obviously more distinctive with that visual crest. I mean, that is basically my problem with pretty much all of the well, not all of the, but a lot of the animals that we have in the game as it stands now. There are just so many that are just not very consequential. And I think it would be better to put animals into the game that were visually distinctive. You know, if I was Frontier's CEO, this is how I would do species added into the game. Are they structurally distinctive? In other words, do they have things on their body that makes them distinct from other similar creatures? Whether it's armored plating or club tails or spikes or possible sails or horns or frills or display features of any sort. Those should be prioritized. Those should be like your first priority animals. Things like Nyctosaurus, Brachylophotitan, or however you pronounce it. Maybe something like Chironosaurus, Saltosaurus, Omesaurus. Animals like that. Something visually distinctive from what's already in the game. Then I would then say, after you like focus on those, or maybe you have like one or two of those per DLC, and then you have a bracket 2 animals. Bracket 2 animals are things that are not structurally, visually distinctive. So they're things that don't have like obvious features, but they're animals that we could either take artistic license with, because there's not much fossil evidence, or animals that we could make visually distinctive relatively easy through a Lux pattern or a Lux or distinctive skins, that sort of thing. And then your bracket 3 animals are like your filler species that you kind of have to have, because you always have to have filler animals. Not everything can be one of the other two categories. There should be filler species. But I would say filler species should be animals that expand the game's roster in terms of globally. So maybe so an example of like a third rate animal would be like an Antarctopelta. Structurally it's pretty similar to Sauropelta, but it comes from Antarctica. So that makes it interesting for the game because it comes from Antarctica. So it should be there to boost the game's global geological roster. But your tier 3 animals should be the ones you have the least of. And your tier 1 and your tier 2s should be the ones you have the most of. That's the way I would go about it. What I feel we get at the moment is we get a lot of tier 2 and tier 3, and we don't get very much of tier 1. In fact, I feel that a lot of the time, the tier 1 animals are restricted to things like film roster animals. Which is, I think, a bad... And actually, I bet if you look at the game's roster overall, I think you'll find most of the animals in it are either Category 2 or Category 3. Maybe I should do a video on that. Might be interesting. Might have some, might lead to some interesting sort of discoveries about the game. But that's how I would do it. And I think if you did it that way, not to toot my own horn, but I think if dinosaurs were picked my way, we'd have a better roster overall. Because my way prioritizes stuff like stuff with visual identity. And I would argue visual identity is kind of something we are missing in a lot of the animals. I tell you what, under my system, Archaeornithomimus would be cut. I think Compy and Microceratops should be in smaller exhibits. I would agree with you, Kyrie. The problem is, how do you get that working with Evolution 3? Because Evolution 3 doesn't seem built for that. You would have to kind of create something like an aviary dome or lagoon, but smaller. And the thing is, this game is just not suited to scale that small. It is the perpetual problem that this game has had, is that it's just not designed for scale that's small. It's designed for things that, you know, are T-Rex and sauropod size. But yeah, Archaeornithomimus would be cut. I would have cut Syntausaurus as well. Nothing against Syntausaurus. I think it's perfectly fine as a species, but well, it's a tier 2. It's too similar to something like Parasaurolophus or Olorotitan. So we don't need it. And I would then say, okay, well, if we must have animals that are similar to others we already have, they need to have a distinctive skin. They should have lux patterns. Maybe both. You know, they should have lux patterns and a distinctive skin. I mean, it is a video I have been meaning to do for a while, and that is, you know, what does roster diversity actually mean? Because I think for some people in the community, when they hear people go, like me and Evo, who go, we want a diverse roster, they think what we mean is, oh, you just want lots of dinosaurs. And that is not what we mean. In fact, it's almost the opposite of what we mean. Just died now. Another Lokisaurus. What time is it? 9:30. Let's leave the Sukos temporarily. Let's have a look at the Nodosaurus enclosure, because this is the one I wanted to really focus on today. Because obviously the Nodosaurus enclosure literally just plonked here in the end of the world, as it were. It looks ugly. So I do think I want to redesign it. The raptor enclosure is going to go down here. So what I'm going to do is paint in where I kind of want raptor enclosure sort of part of the park to be. I think probably somewhere around here will be the raptor. Down here we're going to have the vet block, the vet building. And then this, at this end, well, we're probably going to have a hotel once I build it here. So really, we can free up a little bit of space. So what I think I want the NODOSAURUS enclosure to do is drop under path. In a pretend way, obviously, because guests cannot walk over modular placed pieces. But what I'm thinking is dig it deeper and then have at least one half of the path going over it. Gonna need to muck about a bit, but I reckon we should be able to get some. So let's just level all this out. This is all gonna be raptor. If I remember correctly, they need a fair amount of space, which is why the raptor's going to be pretty much in this bottom corner here. So I'm okay with this terrain height. What I'm thinking is that we have the path come up here. And then in theory back on itself over the NODOSAURUS. Though I would rather keep them at a similar height. So this would have to be a lot higher up. How many are in there? A lot. So I suppose to make it work the easiest, we want to move it to like the middle of this area. Exactly, quantity over quality. That's that I think is the most obvious sort of flaw with the animals picked for this game especially is they've always seemed to go for ones they can easily copy and paste. Okay, if we want to have the vets down here, then this has to be level enough for a vet vehicle. Is terrain. This needs to be okay. A plan is forming. Okay, here's the plan. The guest path is going to come this way towards the raptors and come up here towards the NODOSAURUS. And then we will construct Unt Bridge that goes across the NODOSAURUS habitat this end, where we'll also do something with the dippies, and then the path will come back down. But technically it's not a guest path, it's technically staff path, but it'll technically be a route down. So that should mean we also can extend the NODOSAURUS enclosure a little bit back into this cliff edge here. And we're going to remove this back wall. We're going to replace that with, end of park fencing of some description, so it blends a little better with the rest of the environment. That's the plan. But we are going to have to remove those NODOSAURUS, I think. Might they live with these guys? Probably not. So it's probably just going to be easier just to plonk them somewhere. Dippies. Thumb down another ACU building quickly. Make sure that they've got what they need to be happy, because I do want them to continue breeding. These NODOSAURUS, they're probably the longest lived animals I've had in the park. Like I don't even know what generation they're up to. So making sure they survive and keep having babies is important. Man, I miss Kyodenics food more. Used to make stuff like this so easy. Are we happy in here? Yes, we are. Good. Hello, Cozy Llamas. NODOSAURUS are happy. There we go. Right. Really? Dead dinosaur? Oh, Loki. So, to get rid of this horrible artificial barrier I put in, it just does not blend with the environment at all. I'm quite happy to keep the water up here. I think that makes sense. And we are gonna cut into this a little bit. Another one. The Dilos. Almost all the Dilos have died off now, so I'm going to have to replace them with something. I don't think we're going to have Dilos again, though. Right, I want to mark in where I want the new enclosure lines to be. So, up to there. And then I think... Doesn't really give them much more to raise. So it's kind of curved. And then what we'll do is the bridge will probably be just a simple straight diagonal bridge from that far end to this end. And then there'll be like a viewing tower into the Dippy habitat. Again, it's not the way I would have done it if I was building the park from scratch, but the point of this is not to build everything from scratch. The point of this is to kind of beautify what is already here from when I was building in campaigns. So. Yeah, and then the guest path will sort of come up this way. We'll have like a crescent of stuff up here. And then this will also overlook the raptor habitat, so... Yeah, that is what we will do. So first things first, I guess. I could just build a concrete wall, but that would take time, and I'd like it to remain a bit neutral. What the hell has died now? Oh, one of the NODOSAURUS. And what else has died? What else has died? Another street. Yeah, I'm still really tempted to get Planet Zoo 2 when it comes out. It's just I don't know if I can, I guess, be asked to have yet another modular building game to play, because they just take so much time. And I already have Prehistoric Kingdom, and I don't play that enough. Especially not on this channel. So... I don't know. I would have to do some... not soul searching, but quite serious thinking. Because if I was to get prehistoric, if I was to get Planet Coaster, fucking hell, Planet Zoo, I would probably stop Evolution 3. At least as much as I play it now. And that's something I would have to think quite a bit about, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Kind of like why I play War Thunder and don't play World of Warships, even though I quite enjoyed World of Warships. But there's only so much time in the day that you can devote to a video game, and you know, the cost sunk fallacy suggests that you invest your time in the one that gives you the most pleasure and that you invest the most time into. Stick with it. And I have invested a lot of time in Evolution 3 so far, but it's whether I feel like that benefits the channel if I'm having to make content on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome
If you have to make content on the game, is it better to stick with Evolution 3, which, let's be fair, had a lackluster launch and has so far continued to have a bit of a lackluster launch, or do you take a risk, invest in Planet Coaster, which is probably bound to have a better launch, has quite an established fan base, and is a game maybe I can be sort of happy, clappy, chappy about, as opposed to my usual Frontier, why have you disappointed me yet again? I don't know. It's something I'm going to have a serious think about. Because the other problem is, obviously I would be coming into Planet Zoo 2's community, and that is a community that's already got some hefty people involved. And I kind of don't want to be a hypocrite, because if you remember many moons ago, I said I didn't particularly like the Planet Zoo players coming over to Evolution 3 and making content on it, because they were basically taking advantage of the fact that Evolution 3 had modular building, and they weren't prepared to get invested in the franchise before that, and I felt that it was unfair of them to now be using it for their own advantage when they hadn't struggled through the pain and misery that we all had to. But obviously, if I switch over to Planet Zoo myself, I kind of come across as a little bit of a hypocrite in that regard. So I don't know. Like I say, I'm going to have to do a lot of thinking in the run-up. And figure out whether I want to be loyal to evolution or switch over. Okay, so there is kind of the line for the new NODOSAURUS in game. And I think what we need to do now is put in this perimeter wall. Now, it's only NODOSAURUS, so it doesn't have to be huge, but it is an external park wall. So, I think we are going to go for something that's reasonably strong and resilient. What did I use over here? Over here we use these guys, which I think we might use again, if I'm honest. This one. Here comes another sandstorm. Now, obviously, the other problem is this is a slight curve, so these are technically curving the wrong way. These should be curving. Is it the wrong way? Yes, this should be curving the opposite way around. Not curving, angle. The fucking sandstorm, man. I can't see a damn thing. There we go. Sandstorm stops play for a minute. I don't think there's anything wrong with you trying it out. I mean, that is a good point. But it's like... The other thing is about video gaming, and this is going to make me sound bloody old. Games now are so expensive. So expensive. And with a game like Planet Zoo 2, it only becomes more expensive because of DLCs and stuff. So it's also a question of like investment. If I spend money on buying Planet Zoo 2, but I barely play it, then what's the point? Like if I buy Planet Zoo 2 and I play it for the channel and it doesn't really help the channel and it doesn't really go anywhere and I don't really get into it, then it's a waste of money. Yeah, exactly. It's enough that I already buy the DLCs for Jurassic World Evolution 2. Ah, these fucking sandstorms, man. I do not remember them ever being this prolific. Why is that one blocked? Yeah, see, Kyrie, but that's the other problem I have. Like, if I wait, then any advantage I might get from playing Planet Zoo 2 on release disappears. Devil. Honestly, that sandstorm was ridiculous. Yes, I did hear the Prehistoric Kingdom was revealing what DLCs they were going to use. I will be honest, I think that's rather optimistic of them. I'm like, my guys, your game isn't even finished yet. There's still a long way to go before that is finished. Why are you guys talking about DLC already? Like, how about you finish your game first? Then we can talk about what DLCs you might want to bring in. I don't think they should be even contemplating DLCs at this time. Because there's so much work left to do. I mean, the game is not optimized at all. It badly needs performance improvements. There's no reason why the rig I have has so many problems with Prehistoric Kingdom. There is our perimeter wall. The idea with these particular wall pieces is that the angle is into the enclosure. That way, if an animal is pressing against it, it has to force the pieces to a upright position and then over, as it were. Any fence in an animal enclosure, like, there should be something that is leaning in, because that immediately makes it harder for the animal to push against it and escape. That's why all these dead straight fences are terrible, and it's why most of mine try to include, as you will see here, even by the Suchomomus exhibit, some degree of angling to make them better. Right. Now comes the tricky job. This is just going to be an initial, just like, here is where it's going to be. That way I can build the rest of the exhibit gonna have to make that a little bit longer, I think. That, I reckon, should be long enough. Cross this god. That is one hell of a bridge. It's not even, well, it's not really going to be like a bridge, or rather, I don't want it to feel like a bridge. That might be something we build as we go along, but that's kind of the gist. On the bright side, at least they're planning for it post-full release. Yeah, that's true. It's just a smidgen off. That is more or less the right length. Now, this part of the enclosure needs to be walled off. And then we need to have a gate in here. So I'm going to put the gate in first. Dinosaur threat? What? Oh, what's happened now? Down here. Why aren't you at task? Oh, it's the wrong building. Idiot. At last, the Diplodocus are starting to die off. Right, and I do want this wall to be more or less opaque. So probably go for this one. It's so small compared to the Jurassic fence. The only problem with making your own fences, you're still kind of limited to the gates that are in the base game, and the gates that are in the base game are all preposterous in their size. We'll stick a rock into that one. We need Paleozoic species for Pika. I mean, I think Jurassic World Evolution 3 needs Paleozoic, frankly. Honestly, I would rather Paleozoic than Cenozoic. Just because I've always felt that Paleozoic animals fitted with the aesthetic better than Cenozoic. So in the end, they haven't really gained that much more space. But we're giving them a... It will be a better laid out enclosure. Let's put it like that. That is a mighty bridge, though. Maybe instead of a bridge, it's just so big, and that it's gonna overwhelm What we'll do is we'll have like a little viewing platform instead. We'll just have like a viewing platform that extends into the enclosure, and then we'll have like a gallery up here to overlook it. Because otherwise that bridge will just take up so much space. And we want a little bit of variation in here, so I think I'm gonna give them like a... Ooh, that was way too much. Quite like the idea of maybe this being covered, like building or out of rocks a cover for this. So we've given them like a kind of burrow. It's gonna be... See, I don't like that rock shape. It's just really ugly. I want something thinner. It needs to be lower down. The other problem I hate with this game. Just the scaling makes everything harder than it needs to be. That's more like it. Obviously, we'll have to make this a little bit less obvious. We'll have to put some other types of rock up here. Put some trees up there, up on top of that, and then we've given them like a burrow. Obviously, if again, if I was doing this from scratch, I would design some fancy roofing, like Evo does with hers. But again, I want this particular park to be finished. I think Megalosaurus in JWE2 was perfectly fine. I have seen the trailer for Terrible Lizards. I thought it just looked fine. I didn't have much more to say about it than that. Don't put in rocks there. Right, this water source. I think I want to shift. I think I want it more along this cliff line. I want this place to feel arid, I guess. Wonder where this bloody goat has come from. Yeah. Gareth Edwards. Honestly, I was so disappointed with Rebirth as a result of him. We are coming towards the end of the stream, so I'm going to leave the Nodosaurus enclosure here for now, because that's like a whole, it's like a whole nother stream of work to be doing on this, probably two. So let's just go for the last little bit of the stream. Let's just go back to the Suko and work on that. Funny that the Sukai Mimus didn't... Oh. Let me guess. Suko is not considered a medium dinosaur. Bugger me. Ah. Of course it wouldn't be considered.
We are pleased to welcome a NODOSAURUS to the park.
A small dinosaur. A medium dinosaur. Even though it's like considerably smaller than a big dinosaur. Maybe we need a YouTuber who loves dinosaurs to make a dinosaur movie. There are some problems with that idea. And I know that you're referring to movies made by YouTubers like Markiplier and stuff. The thing is, if you want to have convincing dinosaurs in your dinosaur movie, uh, that means paying for reasonably good CG, and that's expensive. Whereas a horror movie that you can do mostly with physical effects and fake blood, less expensive than creating convincing CGI dinosaurs. So just the subject material lends a lot of challenge to making a dinosaur film. I mean, let's be fair. Primitive War had 7 million budget, and its dinosaurs don't look bad, but they don't look convincing either. Pretty B movie. There was some like nice orange. I don't actually mind the roots poking through the soil. I think it lends a little bit of authenticity. I mean, it's funny you guys should be talking about this. I was actually watching a video before I came on stream about why there are not more dinosaur films. And generally it seems to be that just people are scared of Jurassic. That seems to be the defining feature. And I think that probably extends to passion project works as well, because obviously the average person does not have millions to waste. And if they are going to do a dinosaur film, it's got to make money. Because if it doesn't, that's going to be pretty bad. Come on, Daylight, will you come back, please? I feel like a love of the craft is missing from a lot of films. So that's probably true, Cozy Llamas. But I would say that's probably a side effect of the corporatization of film, and also the Marvelization of film. I do still want the Suko nest on this little island. Why is the color of the rocks not right? That annoys me. Those rocks, I feel like those rocks should be um the um the you know what I mean, these ones, these dynamic rocks. Why is it not? At least look pretty good. Considering I did most of that in the dark. I don't know the rock texture. Is on low health. Proceratosaurus juvenile. What is wrong with you? No food, that's why. I'm fed up of dinosaur films spreading misinformation. Yeah. I mean, I would say beyond dinosaur film, I'm fed up of misinformation being spread by anything. Let me guess, that bloody Proceratosaurus that was starving to death has died. No, died of old age. It's a little nicer compared to what we started with at the beginning of the stream. There's still so much to do in this park. It's ridiculous. I still need to do design and decorate down here. I still need to put in the hotel over here. I need to make the hotel and record making it for a video. Decoration work, and then around the rest of the park. Honestly, I feel like this beautification process isn't going to be finished until like August. I definitely think I'm going to have to do like a couple of like all-day streams where I just focus on this park at some point. Maybe towards the end of June. I'll have to think about that. In any case, I'm going to... What's just died? I'm going to leave it here for today, folks. Thank you for joining me while I've been doing relatively boring work. Placing so much vegetation, it's unreal. But it really does help spruce up things. This looks a lot more lush and verdant now, which I think is good. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Next week's video is all ready to go. I believe it is Dane's next Hades part, I think, next week. And obviously, if there's any Jurassic World Evolution news, I shall do a video on that as well. But yeah, I will see you guys probably on Wednesday when I'm in stream with Fletcher. Until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday evenings. Stay safe, and good night.